is the boning knife. This is definitely an essential knife to have in your kitchen at home. Butchers rely more on boning knives than any other knife. If you trim proteins at home, including meat, seafood, poultry, and more, you need this knife in your kitchen. There's three main grips on the knife. The first grip is where I have three fingers underneath the handle. You have your thumb parallel to the handle on top of the bolster. Then you have your index finger placed on top of the blade itself. This gives you precision, accuracy, and control. With your index finger on top of the blade, using your tip, you just poke and you spear and you pull with your opposite hand, you pull that meat. Here I have a wonderful lamb rack, and I'm just able to go right underneath against the bones using that tip of the knife and pulling it towards me. This technique enables me to maximize the yield while minimizing waste. We're going to have a great dinner tonight. The same technique works fantastic for flatfish, such as sole. Again, using the tip, I just come straight through the spine, and now I'm able to just separate the actual fillet from the actual spine itself. Next, I'll demonstrate the exact technique with this chicken. Notice I can just go in the chicken with my knife, just spearing and poking and stabbing motion, and I pull that thigh bone right out, and I'm able to go right underneath the oyster just like that. Let me do the other side. Notice that spearing and stabbing motion works wonderfully. I turn it over, I pull that joint from the oyster itself, and I go right down. Works wonderfully for chickens. I'll now demonstrate the same grip segmenting an orange. I keep the orange in the cup of my hand, making sure my fingertips are truly out of the way. Then what I do is I bring my blade on one side of the rib until I reach the center. Then what I do is I take it on the other side of the segment, and I repeat the same procedure until the rib pops right out. Now remember, this technique can be utilized for lemons, limes, tangerines, grapefruits, and oranges because all citrus is constructed identically. The second grip is also widely used and is used mostly when cutting to the right. It's utilized with all four fingers on the handle and the thumb on top of the blade itself for precision and control. Now, it works wonderfully for medium-sized items such as this sole. I'm able to skin the sole with the same knife because it's a very small fillet. The third and final grip for the boning knife is when I have my hand back on the handle because I'm going to spin the knife. I come through with the tip of the blade and then I aim to the right. I bring my forefinger underneath to grab that fat, and then I slide my knife all the way to the end of the beef. Now I lift that, and then I continue to lift as I use a sawing motion to remove all that outer fat. And as I exit, I come up, and making sure I come up with my elbow as well. So therefore, my forearm and my elbow are out of the way of the blade of the knife. Our next knife is the fillet knife. The fillet knife is identical to the boning knife except it has a longer blade. This makes it ideal for filleting medium-sized fish and meats. Now the grip is identical to the boning knife, and watch how effective it is on this rockfish. I come underneath the back of the head with the blade of the knife using an angle to maximize yield. Again, I come down to cut through the belly and then grab that with my thumb so that I make sure I don't cut through that. I then come to the top and then I spin my knife downward and make sure I fillet the entire snapper fillet. Skinning it becomes very easy as well. Remember, I bring that to the back of my board, I go in with a slight incision, I hold that down, and then I wiggle as I wiggle my knife in an opposite direction motion. And there we have skinning and filleting our snapper. This fillet knife works great for cutting meats, especially fillets of beef, lamb, or pork. Look how easily it goes through the meat, and I love that long blade, which gives me a tremendous amount of power and force.